Alright guys, I'm making a Detroit dough that's around 70% hydration. With just the flour and water, it comes out to 67%, but after the egg and oil, it feels more like 70. So I'm putting all my dry ingredients together. I'm putting my flour, my salt, my sugar, and my instant yeast. Yes, with my salt and sugar and flour. Instant yeast has enzymes in it that makes it able to use dry. You don't need to hydrate it, activate it, bloom it, anything like that. And then on the other hand, all my wet ingredients, my water, my oil, and my egg, I'm just putting together and mixing together. You can throw them straight in a bowl if you want to, but whisking it kind of helps too. And the recipe total is 6 kilograms of flour, 4 liters of water, 150 grams of salt, which is 2.5%, 100 grams of sugar, which is 1.7%, 100 grams of pomace oil, which is 2.5%, 100 grams or 2 eggs, which is 1.7%, and 40 grams of instant dry yeast, which is 0.67%. So I start with my wet and then add my dry, put on the hook, and I started mixing. I believe I did 9 minutes here. You can do anywhere really from 8 to 10 and you'll get a very similar result. You can also do slap and folds if you're batching this recipe down, which I'll have the recipe and subtitles on this video, and I will also have the recipe in the description for you guys. Here you just kind of see the bowl mixing the dough. It starts, it gets shaggy, and then it gets better. And I'm going to skip through this a little bit and do a little time lapse of the mix and come back when it's done. So you can see when it's a wet dough like that, it doesn't come off the bowl. I'm not going to speed it up or anything. I'm just going to stop the mixer and I'm going to let the dough rest for a little bit. So I got my cup of water, very important. Tilting the bowl back. To get this out, I'm going to wet my hand. And I'm going to just start getting it off the bowl. It's super wet. There's some gluten development here, but it's not perfect. I'm going to let the bowl cover it for at least 10 minutes or so. Alright, so it's got a little bit of rest time. I'll get stuck to the bowl a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to wet both my hands. And I'm going under the sides like this and lifting up over itself. That's a coil full. And then you go 90 and you do it again. You can use a bench scraper. Spilled some of my water, I don't want to get that on the dough. Get your bench scraper to go around. You can also go build some tension. And that big slack of a dough is now a nice dough ball. That's about 70% hydration plus oil, and it's still a really nice dough. But you don't want to go straight into balling it either. You need to rest it for at least about 5 minutes. And since this is such a wet dough, I'm not even going to cover it now. It'll help me roll if I get the tiniest little shell on it. But that's strong now. It's not flat and laid out. It's got some structure and shape to it. Alright, so I'm going to weigh this into 16 ounce or about 450 gram dough balls. And I'm going to put some bench flour on top just to make rolling a little easier, because it's a really wet dough. Everything's got to be fast when you're working with wet dough. I'll show you how I roll this. You want to get the side that was the top of the dough, and it's usually too wet to roll by hand really, so I kind of do a slap and fold and just roll it like that. That's how you get a dough ball. I'll do it again. So I kind of just pick it up, slap, fold, 90 degrees, slap, fold, slap, fold, slap, fold. This weight doesn't feel right. And then I kind of just build tension on it like I would, and that's a beautiful dough ball. So this dough makes about 20 of these. I'm going to roll these and put them on some dough boxes, and I'm going to let them proof or rise for 3 hours. Alright, so I rolled them all. I got one that's going to be a Sicilian, which is literally just twice the weight of the Detroit. I'm going to get these on these dough boxes here, clean them out, pop them on there, and let them proof. Alright, got them all in the dough boxes. I'm going to let them rise for about 3 hours before putting them in Detroit pans. And I also got one Sicilian, so one Sicilian pan. Alright, so I got my seasoned Lloyd's pans here. I lightly spray them too to be safe. And after 3 hours of the dough rising, you're definitely ready to shape your Sicilians or Detroits. I did 16 ounces for these Detroits. The Sicilian was 32. So you can see, I think these are 8 by 14 pans. But if you're doing like 11 by 17, like cookie sheets, or if you have Sicilian pans, even better, or half sheet pans, 32 ounces is a good number, which is about 900 to 1,000 grams, or 450 for this size. And you can see I pretty much just pick it up by the corners away from me, let gravity do some work. Then when it's on the pan, I get the corners closest to me first, and then kind of press the dough out the other way. Try to have it as even as possible, but don't over obsess about your corners. Once again, I pick it up, let gravity do some work, and you can see I got a lot of thick stuff on the other side. So I press that dough out, Try to make it nice and even, like so. Get the corners away from me. Get the sides. And I don't over obsess with the corners. I know they will snap back a little bit, but a 5-minute rest will solve that, and then you can just fix your corners and wrap them. I would recommend spraying them again. Gravity is huge, as you can see. I take advantage of it because a wet dough still has a lot of the water in it. Once it gets baked, it evaporates out, so it's light afterwards, but it's heavy before. So I'm going to shape all of these. I'm going to let them relax for about 5 minutes each. Then I'm going to fix my corners, wrap them, and I let them proof for anywhere from 3 to 5 hours, depending on what's going on. Now, today when I was doing this, it was a Saturday night, so you kind of have to work with what you got. And we did this actually right at the sweet spot, around 4 hours. And we still got through the early part of the dinner rush, no problem, while Adam cooked off a lot of these on the side, and me and Brandon kind of ran orders. So in total, this is like an 8-hour process. It's about an hour from the time you get your ingredients together, mix, and ball up this dough. And then it's 3 more hours until it's risen and ready to shape. And then it's another anywhere from 3 to 5 hours before they are proofed and ready to bake. And we do par bakes here. Obviously I can't say the location, but we do it 475 for 8 minutes in the Baker's Pride oven, and they come out absolutely beautiful. This also is good if you're not doing a par bake. You can just throw your mozzarella or Wisconsin brick cheese on top. I prefer doing it that way and putting a hot marinara on after, but you can put your tomato sauce on in stripes if you want to be traditional for Detroit style before it goes in the oven. So here I am. I went back, I fixed my corners, and I'm just stacking them to be wrapped once I'm done with all the other ones. And if I need to, I can fix the corners again right before wrapping. And you can see I get another round started. And this is the finished product. You can see it looks white, but it is fully cooked. That's the Sicilian there. And here we got a bus tub of 9 of these. You can see the bottom's not too dark, but nice. Those will make some great Detroits. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed.